Okay, this is our latest podcast, Bella and Will, part 11, I believe, of Alzheimer's Chronicles. It's the fall. October just started, and we were thinking we might talk today about our pets, Beans and Pepper, who have been mentioned numerous times before, but it seems like they are playing an important role in Bella's life now that things have changed quite a bit and she's staying home, and it seems like something that maybe we should go into in more depth. So what do you have to say about Beans and Pepper, honey?
That I love them both very, very much, and that they love me the most, and that Pepper sleeps in bed with me every night and we cuddle together. And Beans is always so happy to see me. Every day I take Pepper for a long ride in the car, whether it's raining, whether it's snowing, or if it's super sunny. I drive her up into the mountains. And the reason I do that is because when I take her in the car, like to the grocery store, she barks at every single car that goes by us. And even though I wear earplugs, it can be a little horrific. So I take her up into the mountains and we barely come across another car. So she doesn't realize I'm tricking her, but it makes it so that my head doesn't pound quite as much.
Oh, so she actually doesn't bark the entire time if you go up West Mountain?
No, she does. She barks the entire time.
Well, then how are you tricking her?
Because I go up where there's not a lot of cars, so she can't bark at as much. See, she barks at all the cars that we drive by, but if I go up into the mountains, there's not that many cars, so I'm tricking her by keeping her from barking so much in my ear.
So she doesn't actually bark the entire time then, if you go up West Mountain Road and up there where there's not so many cars?
Yeah, but she still barks a lot, and it's still really head pounding, but because there's not a lot of cars driving by us, she barks when the cars drive by.
I see. Okay, so it is less.
Yeah, it is less. That's why I go up into the mountains, because there's not that many cars. But when I drive her around town, she barks at everything. Yeah. And she's got a really loud voice.
I know. Let me ask you, so it seems like they've been a great comfort to you. You're home all the time. You're by yourself, except for Beans and Pepper, and it seems like because of their presence, that's okay. That it's okay being home all the time. It's okay being alone. It's not. It's like a huge difference in your quality of life. Would you say that?
I'm not quite sure what you mean by quality of life. There's a huge difference in my quality of life, meaning my quality of life has gone up or gone down.
Meaning your quality of life is so much better because you have their company. Where if you didn't have your pets, you'd be home by yourself all the time, and that would probably be really hard.
Well, I just have to go find somebody's pets. Because I can't be without an animal. I've never lived without an animal, unless it was in between the death of an animal and the new animal coming in. I have to have animals in my family.
Right, but well, we actually went for quite a while after Ruby died.
That was
several years, a couple years at least.
No, 2 years, and it was very traumatic for me. And we don't even know what happened to her, honey. So don't say she died. She might have just wandered off and found a new family. But it was. All right.
Well, she's dead by now, for sure.
Probably. But I was very traumatized by her being gone. I just think about that sometimes all the time. In fact, I can't mention her to some of our family members because they get so upset.
Right, I know. Okay, but yeah, I know the pets have been important to you, but it seems like they're much more important to you in the last couple of years. Now that you're home And since your Alzheimer's diagnosis?
Well, they're not very judgmental, those little animals. They're actually quite interested in me, and they pay a lot of attention to me. I have them, or they have me, well trained. They are incredibly sweet little animals, and they love me, which is really important. My dog gets in bed with me every single night and cuddles up to me. And when I'm talking to her, she talks back to me in her voice.
Yeah. And doesn't it seem like that attention, that affection, that being able to, cuddle with them, touch them, pet them, and have that warmth, that is a big deal to you now, like a bigger deal than it used to be?
Well, I think it would have been a big deal regardless. The children are all grown up and going on their own ways pretty much. So I think that it's like a double whammy for me because my children are growing up and leaving the home, and, I have the animals. And they're, just really wonderful, sweet, adorable animals. And I do spend a lot of time with them. Remember when we were in Scotland, Pepper, my dog, was so upset that we weren't there that she kept escaping from the fenced-in yard and looking for me. I mean, that's the devotion of that dog.
Yeah. I don't know. I know for me, like, it makes me feel a lot better being at work that you have Pepper and Beans to keep you company. That because otherwise I think I would feel a lot more, like, sorry for you being home all by yourself.
Well, I don't stay in the house all the time.
But you're going out with Pepper. I mean, if
Exactly.
you did, you probably would stay in the house all the time if you weren't taking Pepper for drives.
I have to take her for drives. She loves it so much. Plus, I take her for walks. I take her for a lot of walks, too.
Right.
So I walk her and I drive her. And Beans and I play. Beans is the little bunny, and I have this tunnel for him. And he and I play, and he's so fun to play with. He's also extremely affectionate. He follows me around.
So, do you think? Let's say you didn't have Alzheimer's, or you hadn't developed Alzheimer's, and we had Pepper and Beans. And do you think you would be the same way with them that you are now, or do you think you're different with them because of the Alzheimer's?
Honey, how many pets have we had all our lives together? We had a 3-legged dog, and I carried that dog around so she wouldn't hurt her injured leg. And that was through woods, and she was a heavy dog.
That's true. I've kind of blocked that out. I try not to think about that. I think at the time I just did my best to ignore that.
Well, it was either that or she wouldn't be able to participate in our family, and that was not going to be the case. Her name was Sally, by the way, and she was a very sweet girl.
A totally neurotic and difficult dog.
That's your point of view. My point of view is she was lovely, and I was very sad when she died.
Yeah.
But we haven't even mentioned Ruby, the greatest dog that ever lived.
We mentioned Ruby.
Did we? Oh my God, that was the best dog. She was the smartest, sweetest, most affectionate dog we've ever lived with.
What about Pepper? Now you're putting Pepper down in second place?
No, Pepper is not. Pepper is lovely, but she's not as smart as Ruby was. Ruby wouldn't bark in the car, for one thing. And when I was walking around town with the dog, with Ruby, I could say, Ruby, stay. And she would stay outside this door and just wait for me. No, she wouldn't get distracted. She wouldn't leave. She just stayed with me. Pepper would never be able to do that.
Yeah, no, she wouldn't. So, I guess then, maybe it's because, you're not doing a lot of other things like going to work and being busy with stuff like that, and so you have more time with the animals. do you feel a difference? I mean, you said the animals are not judgmental. I mean, do you feel a difference interacting with our pets than you do with other people?
Well, the big thing in the direction that you're going in, if I were to think much about it, animals are not judgmental. They don't mind if you belch in front of them. They don't mind if you, accidentally do something stupid. I mean, they're like totally devoted. And I could never live without an animal. I would always have to have an animal in my life. I can't live without one. Except when we lost Ruby, I couldn't replace her for 2 years. And that's when we replaced her with Pepper.
Right. But, yeah. I mean, that brings up another subject, which is my fear of one of the animals dying.
You should be fearful.
Yeah. So do you think about that? Do you worry about that?
No. I hope I die before they do, because I'm not sure if I could bear the loss of them. They keep me such good company, and they're so entertaining. You know how entertaining Beans is. He's just the funniest little bunny you ever met. Recently his toenails were clipped by a professional who came to our house and did that for us. And but Will has to hold him while the nails get clipped. And he was so angry at Will after that. He wouldn't look at him. He wouldn't go near him. He was so angry. He got over it eventually, but I had to play with him for a really long time for him to get past the trauma of having his toenails clipped.
Yeah. He was upset, but he's over it.
He is over it, but he's awfully cute.
He is cute. He's very cute. Do you feel sad ever sitting around during the day?
No. Never. I'm never sad.
That's really good, and that's kind of surprising. And do you think that's because you have Beans and Pepper, or just because you're not thinking that way, you're not going in that direction?
Well, I mean, as I've said many times before, nobody lives forever. I mean, you can't. If you could, everybody would, but you can't, so they don't. And, I could have had a really terrible disease like, I don't know, cancer or just some so horrible disease that was painful and horrible and, made my body stink or something. I don't know. If that would have been, that would be a horrible thing to have to live with. People have way worse diseases than this. People have cancer. Their children have cancer. My children do not have cancer. So it's like, I mean, how bad can I complain? I'm 60 years old. I've lived for 60 years, and I've lived a really good life. I don't want to die. I want to stay with my family forever. But it's not, I mean, there are people out there that are in way worse shape than I'm in. And, I mean, I can still cook, and I can still drive and shop and hang out and do stuff. And I'm completely independent on my own. It's not like I get lost or anything. I mean, I can't even...
What?
I don't get lost.
Now and then.
Not really.
Okay.
But, you see those commercials on TV where the little kids have no arms and stuff. It's like, it's really hard to complain about my situation when I'm 60 years old. I'm still fairly healthy. My brain works most of the time. I have a lovely home, a wonderful husband, wonderful kids, and great pets.
So you really feel that way, I mean, I know you've said that over and over again since your diagnosis, but I don't know. Until now, I kind of thought you were just saying that, like that was like a good thing to say. I mean, or you were talking yourself into it, but you really do feel that way.
Yes, of course I do. I mean, everybody dies, honey. You will
No, I know,
someday
but if
die
I
too.
but if I were in the process of dying, I don't think I'd be very happy about it. I mean, of course I am,
I was
but
going to say,
you know
wait
what
a
I
second.
you know
You're
what I
in the process right now.
but you know what I mean. If I if I had a terminal illness, I think I would. I don't know, but I think I would. I just absolutely have no idea.
Honey,
how I'd feel,
everybody has a terminal illness. That's what life is. It's a terminal illness. You always die in the end.
I get it, but that's it still can be very difficult to go through the actual process of having a disease that is killing you. I mean, that's that's something you have that not everyone has. Like, I don't have that.
Right.
Zoe doesn't have that. Tam doesn't have that. Ginny doesn't have that. It's like that's something that's going on. That's the reality.
Well, you can look at a glass half full, or look at it where a glass half empty. I mean, everybody dies. I mean, I have been really lucky to have wonderful pets, but I can tell you it's really hard when they leave me. I get very attached to them. I feel bad that if I were to die before they do, they would be so lonely for me.
That's true. That would be very hard for them too. Yep.
So, but the ceiling in our house could fall on us right now as we sit here. Literally, it could.
Actually a very good chance of that.
It already did recently. But so you can't. I mean, you can hope for a long, prosperous, fun, enjoyable life, but most people don't have that. Most people have really horrible lives. A lot of people do. Well, they don't have enough food. They don't have,
Yeah, okay, but that's not. I mean, first of all, that's not right in our face. That's not right next door.
It is in your face. It's in your face every day. You know that there are people out there that have hardly anything compared to us.
Okay. I guess I don't really think about that very much, and I never have. But you have, I guess.
I always have.
Why do you think that is?
Because I care the way other people feel.
Okay.
How they
That's
feel.
true. And maybe because life was fairly difficult growing up.
It was very difficult, but it wasn't as bad as a lot of people's lives were. I just feel everybody dies. It's just it's part of life. You die.
People are gonna get really depressed listening to his podcast.
Well,
it's like
the worst part
is that supposed to be cheerful? Is that an optimistic way of looking at things, or the opposite?
I try and convince myself that it's okay, not for me, but because you know how things are when my animals leave me. I mean, I know I've heard you and Zoe plotting what you guys are going to do if one of my animals dies.
Well, the girls were suggesting that we should get another, like a puppy or something now or soon, so that there'd be a replacement already in place.
No, because Beans couldn't handle the dogs.
Yeah, I mean, it's problematic.
Yeah.
But... they dread what will happen when and if one of our current pets dies.
They should, because I will be devastated. I would be devastated. I love them so much. Not very many dogs will get in bed with you at night and talk to you. And she does.
I think a lot. Well, I don't know about the talking part, but most dogs like jumping up in bed.
Yeah, but when I talk to her, and I'll say to her how much I love her and how much I appreciate her, and she turns her little head toward me and goes, "Roar, roar, roar," I know she's saying stuff to me. Just because I can't understand it doesn't mean I don't feel it. I know she's communicating with me.
Yeah, Pepper communicates a lot.
I love that dog.
Yeah. All right. Anything else you want to talk about?
I do love my little Pepper boy too.
You mean Beans?
Beans, yeah. Beans is so sweet. It was so funny when he got so mad at you for holding him while he had his toenails clipped. Oh my God, that was so hysterical. He has such personality.
Yeah, he does.
He was so angry with you. But it needed to be done, and I appreciate you being the one to take the hit.
Okay. I guess we can sign off. What do you think?
Sounds good. Because we don't want to miss Jeopardy.
Right.